The Traitors season finale happened last week, the American version. Everybody's talking about it online. You may have seen my last video or TikTok where I summarize what's been happening on season 4. A lot of people have been kind of disappointed near the second half of the show because it kind of got boring. You know, the loud, interesting people kind of exited near the beginning. Not a single traitor had been caught many episodes ago since Candace was last revealed. I was hopeful that the Faithfuls would still take it at the end. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case because Rob Roush won, and well deserved, because he made it look effortless. Now, people can say that was on the Faithfuls because they were misguided, they were dumb, they were confused. I get that. But at the same time, Rob didn't crack. Nobody seemed to have voted him besides Candace those 2 times. But besides that, everybody really trusted him, and especially Maura, which we will get to. I just want to start off with how the episode began. The cast was huddled outside of the castle with Alan coming. One of them was about to be murdered. They had a coffin propped up, for dramatic purposes. And Mark's name was called. Nice guy, but he wasn't my favorite player. I have no feelings seeing him go. From what I've seen in his Instagram and TikTok accounts, he's actually pretty funny, and he's been talking about his experience on the show, what went down. Give his social media a look. I don't want to dog on the guy because enough people have done it. And so that left it with Tara, Johnny, Maura, Eric, and Rob. In the interim, when they're waiting to go to the round table, Tara approaches Maura and says that she believes that Rob is a traitor, and it's just not getting through her because Rob is a friend. And it's not like a confrontational discussion. Maura's understanding, she listens, but it doesn't go that way in the round table. Johnny gets booted, and when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, why? And then things get interesting. The final sequence, Tara, Maura, Eric, Rob huddle together. Tara is booted out, unfortunately. And even then she can't be saved. Maura still doesn't confide in her because Maura herself voted for Tara over even Eric. Eric gets blindsided because Maura and Rob decide to cast him out, and he goes home with nothing. And I really felt for him because he said, I really trusted you guys. He was blindsided. But you know what? I saw it coming. I know I didn't mention that in my last video, but I wanted to. I'm not surprised that he was played. And the way it all turned out, it all unfurled in that sequence. It made for some really good TV. But it got even better when Maura finally learns that Rob is a traitor. And she stands there shocked. She doesn't blink. Her dialogue is pretty funny because she called him an absolute asshole. And, everybody on the internet is calling her dumb. Everybody's saying, they must have hooked up. Oh, she's, stigmatized. And that's something she made fun of on the Traitors podcast. People can make assumptions about what happened behind the scenes, even though we hear the security is kind of tight at the hotel where all the cast members stay and are sequestered. She developed a bond with Rob, so much so that she thought she was going to win with him. And when you see that scene, when they're in the kitchen, and he's like, we're going to take this, or we're going to, cast out Eric, and she's like smiling, and Rob's holding her face. Like, hey, if he did that to me too, not that I'm like, he's attractive, but I'm not really like crushing on him compared to a lot of women on the internet. But if a man did that to me, I think I would have been swayed. And the girl got played. I don't want to call her dumb, because I'm not the one in her shoes. Again, it's easy to say when you're not doing these challenges and you're not away from home. I feel bad for her for the way that people are talking harsh about her, but if Mora was cast on another game show, I'd be leery, because she went into it very naive, despite not even seeing a season and understanding the formula of this case, because anyone can be played and get sent home. So everybody's been talking about that sequence of Mora finding out about Rob being a traitor. The reunion came out after the fact. I watched it. I thought it was fun. It was campy, but it kind of seemed like it was cut for brevity. You may have heard that Lisa Rinna revealed that she might have been drugged at the premiere party in January. I'm not sure if that was discussed in the reunion. Probably more of a serious personal matter that she might not legally talk about out loud. That's something I just realized. And then Colton Underwood, his past dark events with his ex-fiance. I went over that. There are stalking allegations. He kind of, cryptically mentioned, he had a couple of dark years in his life, and now he's doing better. That was all that was touched on. He didn't go into specifics, but if you're not aware, Colton appeared on The Bachelor in 2019, I think, gets engaged to one of the women that appear on the show, and then in like 2020, there's these domestic incidents where he was stalking her, and then some point later, he came out as gay. Now, apparently, he has a family of his own. Everybody is having choice words about Colton, but that's what I will say about him. I want to go over how this finale looks compared to the previous seasons, because not one are all the same. Season 3 was such a happy, beautiful ending because all of the faithfuls, the 4 of them, win the prize at the end. Dylan, Dolores, the chick from The Bachelorette, and the British royalty guy. Amazing end to that season. But when you look at season 2, it goes a different way. Initially, the traitors in that season, Phaedra, Pavarti, and a guy from Big Brother, they were the original 3, but they didn't make it at the end, like Rob. CT from The Challenge, which is a show I adore, he's a faithful. He makes it at the end. Trishelle, again, from the Real World Challenge world, she makes it at the end. And then MJ from Shaws of Sunset. This is like a Bravo reality show about her friends and her life and all that, but it's not a competition show. So this is her first time like playing a game. CT and Trishelle cast her out. She doesn't go home with the money. And when I saw that happen, I felt bad for her, but these 2 are veterans. CT has had a lot of wins under his plate for the challenge. I've seen many seasons. I enjoy it. And the fact that CT won Traitors, he is a GOAT. I felt bad for MJ because, she was a faithful. Why couldn't they have parted the money with her? But that's what happened. And then season 1, Siri from Survivor wins. She was a traitor the whole time. There were 2 faithfuls who were civilians that made it to the end, but they later find out, hey, that Siri is a traitor, and they're shocked. And it was this whole emotional scene. I've seen clips of it on TikTok. I guess I must have blacked out because I said, I didn't remember civilians being in this first season, and no wonder they didn't bring them back, because they're just, I don't want to say they're unremarkable, but it just doesn't mesh well with reality people. They're not the same mix of power. Siri won. She's the first traitor to win the show. And she relates a lot to Rob in that way because they're solo winners. We'll see if season 5 comes out. I'm sure it will, but I would like better casting choices, more comedians. Michael Rappaport, I know not a lot of people like him, but he cracks me up. And if you see one of his newer videos out on his account, he's like cracking up about Mora because he had seen the finale and he's making fun of, Mora thinking she's in this relationship with Rob. Not gonna lie, I cracked up. It's funny, but that's why he was on the show, because he's an entertainer. You may not like him, but we need them around. Ron Funches, I could kind of see him returning for season 5 in like a Dorinda way, and like, this is my revenge, because I wasn't treated right. I wouldn't mind seeing Ron come back, but I think we should end it on Dorinda being the final person to come back to the castle, because I just want to see new faces, new personalities, first time in the game. It's just a lot more fun that way. Bring back athletes. Tara, Johnny, they're figure skaters. It reminded me of the rugby player in the UK celebrity season who was very good, and he reached the end and he had suspicions on the right traitors, but even his own fellow faithfuls casting him out despite being right. Athletes have an advantage in some way. Sure, we could use more housewives. They're just a part of the code. I don't know who else, but let's bring more cerebral, more smart characters. Let's not banish out the gamers like Ian this time. Let's give him a chance. I'm looking forward to the NBC version with the civilians. Whenever that comes out, you can see how that interaction looks with everyday people, how they play the game. Not gonna lie, I'm interested, but the shooting schedule kind of conflicts with a trip that I'm going to in the future. But hey, I'm rooting for this season, and if I like it, maybe I'll give it a chance if they do another follow-up to that. That is my take on the Traitors finale and everything that has happened since then. Thank you for watching.